Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's the Warriors' Jonathan Kuminga finally breaking out for his 33-point masterclass that the Warriors were able to put on the Houston Rockets and end up winning by 6 points. Jonathan Kuminga had a bunch of plays not only in the clutch but throughout the game to get him his 33 points and really carry the Warriors to a win. In this film review, we're going to go over why I believe some of Jonathan Kuminga's performance is really sustainable, and if you stick around till the end, talk about how he can actually work in with Steph Curry and Draymond Green when they come back to the Warriors' land. In this first clip right here, it's early in the game, and clearly the Warriors had a plan to get Jonathan Kuminga in the offense early. Right here, he's breaking down Jabari Smith Jr., and he's going to try to drive right by him, going to the rim. You see the Warriors are trying to play with pretty good spacing right here and make sure that we have Dillon Brooks way out beyond the three-point line and everyone else on the opposite side of the court from Jonathan Kuminga. I think there was a clear message from Steve Kerr this game. Finally, you'd have hoped this happened a couple years ago, but that Jonathan Kuminga is going to need to be activated this game. And he does a great job. Backs Jabari Smith down and is able to shoot the contested two-point shot. And this is a good early sign for Kuminga when he's able to make this shot. Right here in this next play, it's one of the next plays down the court as well. Looney's going to be setting a screen on Dillon Brooks and Buddy Hield's going to be coming off. Buddy did not have a great game, but Kuminga is going to clearly know what to do. It's clear that he understands the offense a little bit better than where he used to. And he's going to sink to the wing position as Buddy Hield comes off just to do spacing. I feel like earlier Kuminga might not have done that. He might have actually stayed in the same spot, created problems for spacing, but this means that Fred is not really in any good position to contest a Kuminga shot from three or driving into the lane, and he's going to have to pick his poison. So right here, Buddy Hield does a nice pass to Jonathan Kuminga, and Kuminga goes up for it over Fred VanVleet and shoots it. Kuminga's three-point shot, I think, has improved. It's not where we need it to be for him to play the three on the court, but it has improved a lot. He was 3 of 6 for much of the night from three-point land in this game, and I think if he can shoot 40 to 50% from three in that very set shot that he uses, that can definitely be a weapon for the Warriors. Here it seems clear that the Warriors are going to try to isolate Kuminga once again in the block position and give him the isolation possession to create on his own. So right here we have Buddy Hield dribbling up at the top of the key, and he's pretty well guarded. Everyone kind of diverts his attention to him, so Looney gets the ball. This is a Steph Curry play right here. So Looney gets the ball wide open around the three-point line. Looney doesn't shoot threes, so instantly he goes and looks for the dribble handoff. Normally this is Steph Curry, but right here instead we're editing a little bit, and it's going to be Jonathan Kuminga. And so Dillon Brooks is really in a tough position here in that he's right about to be screened, and so he goes well under the screen. And this is a shot if Jonathan Kuminga can consistently make, he's really going to elevate his game to the next level. That three-point shot behind the screener is something that Steph Curry often takes, but if Jonathan Kuminga can make that, it really activates his game because he's going to be able to drive downhill off of that if opponents go over that screen and really make them pay close to the rim. Right here we have another possession here with Looney kind of being the point of distribution for the Warriors and trying to get the ball to Kuminga. Sengun is already in really basically a drop coverage, essentially trying to make sure that nobody gets beyond him on either side and making sure Kuminga or Looney doesn't get beyond him. Kuminga is going to come around the screen and try to get Dillon Brooks off of him. It seems like the Rockets eventually thought that Dillon Brooks was the best matchup versus Kuminga, and he's a good defender, but he's no match for Kuminga. And going under, this is some of the problems that going under the screen can cause. There's a massive amount of space still that gets created, and Jonathan Kuminga is so athletic and fast that he's already running downhill, whereas Dillon Brooks is a little bit flat-footed and isn't going to be able to pick up that speed as quickly. So you see he blows by him immediately, and Sengun isn't really in a position to contest him at the rim at all. He's not a very good rim-protecting big for the most part anyway, so he is able to get that blow by and really able to shoot and score. Right here, we have Jonathan Kuminga initiating offense with Andrew Wiggins on the court as well. They do a quick dribble handoff, essentially. It seems to get the defense confused and get Jabari Smith confused on what he's supposed to do. So Jabari ends up going with Andrew Wiggins, Dillon Brooks ends up going with Jonathan Kuminga, and we have, once again, the Sengun and Looney kind of pair. Jonathan Kuminga does a good job of, once again, setting up the screen that Looney's doing, doing a crossover dribble, and driving down into the paint. Now, Sengun does a better job of trying to essentially make sure that Jonathan Kuminga can't get by him. But the Warriors do a good job of also continuing to space the court. You see Pods way out here, and you see basically everyone on the Warriors spacing the court so that Kuminga has a lot of room to operate, which I think is going to be key for the Warriors as they continue. So right here, Kuminga is basically facing a wall, but I want you to notice just how strong he goes up with the ball. He's able to push a 250-pound plus big who's way taller than him off of kind of his feet and essentially push him back to get a pretty wide open layup. And honestly, what I thought could have been called a foul if he was maybe a superstar or something like that, which he's not yet, but maybe one day. And I think that's super important. He's able to move big men, specifically Alperen Sengun as well, and get to the basket and create easy shots out of what seems like hard shots, which is something the Warriors have really struggled with this season. You notice a lot of their isolation possessions really don't work out, except if it's Andrew Wiggins, essentially, or like Steph Curry. I know we need another type of ball creator. Right here, Podziemski's going to set up Kuminga at the top of the three. And this is a clear mismatch, but they're going to make this even worse by bringing Sengun up to the action as well. As you can see, common theme here this game, the Warriors really like to pick on Alperen Sengun and use Kuminga in that pick and roll, and bringing the big up to the top of the key to make it so that Kuminga is going downhill, not into a set big, but into one that's running back as well. So they set the screen right here, and essentially they're putting all their attention on Kuminga. We have both Fred VanVleet and Sengun making sure to watch out for Kuminga. Kuminga does a great play right here. He notices that Fred VanVleet was sagging back by Looney, and he knows he has enough space to get off his three-point shot. He shoots it and ends up scoring. And his three-point shot there was key just to make the defense play him a little bit more honest. This next play right here really features Kuminga on defense. So right here we have a good shot from Thompson. He's just going to barely miss, and Steven Adams is able to get the rebound. And honestly, at this point in the game, in the third quarter, Steven Adams was killing the Warriors on the boards, but Kuminga is going to be watchfully waiting for this ball to come right back up and then meets him at the top. And I think this just showcases the fact that Kuminga has a lot of athleticism that if he gets more playing time and is able to grow into himself as a player, he can definitely use that on the defensive end as well, which is something we did get to see a lot of it last night, but something I hope we see, especially as Steph Curry comes back and he can focus a little bit more on the defensive end. Once again, now Jonathan Kuminga is going to be initiating off of a screen, kind of dribble handoff type action, and they're getting Steven Adams and Jalen Green involved right here. Jalen Green does a better job of trying to stay attached to Kuminga, and he has the athleticism, or he's supposed to stay with Jonathan Kuminga, but once again, Jonathan Kuminga closes the space between him and Jalen Green and gives him the cold shoulder, so to say, to push him away. And this is where Jonathan Kuminga has really been working in the weight room. He's able to clear Jalen Green by a large margin, and Jalen Green jumps, but he's really in no position to contest whatsoever. And Steven Adams is far too deep into the paint to contest, and he's able to get that easy bank shot. And I think this is going to be something we'll see from Jonathan Kuminga quite a bit, especially versus mismatches where he knows he's stronger. In this clip right here, what you're going to see is great defense from Kevon Looney, and then we have a fast break point. This is one of the last shots of the game. The Warriors really need this, and Jonathan Kuminga is able to get it in transition, and this is where he really shines. You see him keep the ball over his head, do a quick Euro step to keep the ball away from Fred VanVleet because he's a lot shorter than him and is able to finish. And this is part of the game that you thought, oh, this is where Jonathan Kuminga would have most of his points today. But no, actually most of his points definitely came in the half court, running those types of set actions and really exploiting the Houston Rockets big men. Now, this right here, the last play, I thought was honestly amazing to watch. And this is actually like a much harder play, I feel like. There's no big man on the Houston Rockets side, no Alperen Sengun or Steven Adams. And this is noteworthy because the whole night, Kuminga's mainly been picking on the center and whoever's guarding him pick and roll. So right here, we have Dillon Brooks up at the top, and he's going to be guarding him. And Wiggins is going to bring over Fred VanVleet, who's probably the next worst defender besides the center. And so they're going to run a little action right here. And honestly, the Rockets do a really good job of guarding it. Essentially, what Freddie's trying to do right here is force him right back into Dillon Brooks so they can potentially do another type of switch or just make it so that they have two bodies in front of him. But Jonathan Kuminga immediately accelerates right here, as you see, and it looks like he's about to be trapped. But he does a nice move with the ball. So he keeps the ball up high instead of going down low where any defender like Dylan Brooks or Fred VanVleet should get to it. And Freddie reaching for it, but Jonathan Kuminga knows the ball's high enough to where he's not going to get the ball swatted away. Kuminga keeps it up high and is able to just launch it from that position and get it right in the basket. And honestly, I thought he was fouled here. Freddie was reaching into his hands, even though he was obviously Kuminga's much taller than him. But this clip just showcases Jonathan Kuminga's athleticism, and also when the Warriors give him a lead, he's really able to use it and able to finish. And I think we'll see this when Steph Curry and Draymond Green come back. I think we'll still see Jonathan Kuminga initiating offense and having some freedom in the paint. You'd think the spacing only gets better when Steph Curry comes back, and hopefully Draymond Green will also adapt to some of these types of plays and be running the screens a lot like Looney is, so that Jonathan Kuminga can get downhill and get into the paint a lot easier. If you guys like this content and want more Jonathan Kuminga content, please subscribe and follow our YouTube channel. Thank you.